as we get to stock up, stock down, rank. Who's getting the stock up this week?
Michael Pittman. You know, a lot of people drafted Anthony Richardson because of his rushing ability, but he actually can sling the ball. And Sunday, as a matter of fact, Michael Pittman was his most targeted receiver. 11 targets, 8 receptions, nearly 100 yards. Nearly got that bonus, but he got into the end zone, which was huge. So you love to see that because we really do want to invest in this Colts offense. They're not probably going to be able to run the ball very much, so we want to see these wide receivers take a stride. And another wide receiver, Puka Ngata of the LA Rams. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and take a humble brag because not only did I mention it on this show, Good Morning Football as well, and some other things, my podcast, whatever. Listen.
You have a podcast?
I do.
Okay.
15 targets, 10 receptions, 119 yards. It's very remarkable when you can be one of the top scorers in fantasy without getting a touchdown. But every time you looked up at that game, it looked like Puka was just hauling in a reception. And you hope that in the absence of Cooper Kupp that he can continue to do this. Now, remember, this week, he does got a matchup with the San Francisco 49ers, so it might not be as robust. So when my flex rankings come out on Tuesday, don't be upset and be like, where's Puka Ngata? I'll be like, he's playing the 49ers. So let's chill a little.
Humble brag and a tease all in one. You are a master.
Good.
Look, when I'm looking at my stock up guy, the one who's Carvana, the best performing stock from last season to this
Yes.
Tyler Algier, we thought he was done for. We thought that Bijan would take all of his volume. We thought wrong, except for if you're.
I was say, can I take a humble brag on? Let's do it.
Wow.
I not only called Tyler Algier, I said that he was going to score a touchdown.
But you got it wrong.
I did.
You were so off.
So off.
You were 100%
I
off.
apologize. So you know what? My bad, everybody.
Yeah.
You actually scored 2 instead of the one I guaranteed you.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Can I get back to mine?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I interrupted.
Okay.
Your stocks.
Brandon
Stock
Aiyuk.
up.
My second stock up is Brandon Aiyuk. I like this one because all we were talking about all offseason, myself included, Deebo Samuel, Deebo. And you know who got into the end zone not once, but twice?
Who's that?
Brandon Aiyuk.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that's why his stock is rising. I think it's going to be an interesting test against the Rams. I don't know if they're going to need to necessarily pass or have this robust of an offense for a second.
Is that a shot at me?
Uh-huh.
For saying the word robust?
No, I'm just trying to
expand your vernacular
with my vernacular.
Okay.
You know, all of the different ways to speak, just like you, Adam Rank. So, Brandon Aiyuk, stock up.
The Titans secondary was chagrined because Rasheed Shaheen played so well.
Catching strays.
It's a stock up. We're just honoring you. A stock up for Rasheed Shaheen. He changed a new number. He changed to a new number, so that's first and foremost. 6 targets, caught 5 of them for 89 yards. That's in a low-scoring game. He had 2 carries as well. Astronomical is the stock right now. And also a stock up for Kenneth Gainwell, who saw the Eagles sign backs in the offseason. And that's the G that remains, is Kenny Gainwell. Still in the backfield. In fact, I told you, if you needed to go and pick up a running back, if you had Jonathan Taylor, go get Kenneth Gainwell. Don't worry about DeAndre Swift in week 1 because it's going to be Kenneth Gainwell. It was. And so it's 11.4 fantasy points, but it's 11.4 points that you needed. And I think we got a few more weeks of that. But the stocks, they got to fall for some folks. If they're going up, then they're going down elsewhere. Rank, who are you placing the down arrow on?
Well, the Las Vegas Raiders went on the road and they won a game, but unfortunately, Josh Jacobs did not have the kind of game that's been indicative of his previous career. Obviously, the 48 rushing yards were a disappointment, just 2 receptions, but more importantly, 2.5 yards per rush. That is the fewest in his career in any game where he's had at least 11 carries. You really hope he can be more effective because we're counting on him, but hopefully, this week he can turn it around. I think it's the new number 8.
Has to be.
It's got to be the number. Also, another one that took a little bit of a tumble was Antonio Gibson, player that I was very bullish on coming into this season. He had an early fumble, which means we're never going to see you again. To the point of Brian Robinson was out there. They were running Brian Robinson out of shotgun and all this. They were using him in the formations you would normally expect to see Antonio Gibson. Hopefully he can turn that around. I don't know if Tom Coughlin can be flown up there, Tiki Barber. Somebody show him how to hold on to the football. Because he is a very good player when he holds on to the football, which I guess is a pretty big part of it. It's like, hey, my car's great as long as the brakes are working. It's a big thing, to not be working. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
is that
valuable.
Weird? You know what I'm saying? Hey, it's a lovely car. Brakes don't work. It's a huge issue. So he's got to hold on to the ball.
Yes.
If he wants to be on the field. If he doesn't, then keep fumbling.
Well, That's actually the entire premise of my stock down were people who fumbled. So I'm going to start with Tank Bigsby, who we were all talking about could be the replacement to Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not going to want him instead of Etienne and blah, 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 blah. But you know what happened? He scores a touchdown, then he loses a fumble, 1.9 yards per rush. Not so great. That's going to limit your expectations. It's also going to limit your performance. You know, the brakes are important, as we pointed out. And the other
Do they have brakes on a tank, though?
Yeah, they put brakes on it.
Actually, I would imagine that brakes on a tank are even like bigger and more important.
Yeah, because that thing starts running away.
Right, exactly. You don't want that to happen. Are brakes on a Dion big? Jackson?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. The interesting part here. Did you get?
He fumbled.
Yeah, the fumbles. It's not good. 1.6 yards per touch. That's the fewest by a Colts running back since Ahmad Bradshaw in 2014. That's not great.
That's not good.
No. And we're going to have a big problem. You said it earlier. This team does not look like they're going to be able to run the football very effectively or efficiently. So maybe we just look to.
Our guy Evan Hull got injured.
I'm telling you, if Evan Hall's not playing, I don't even want to watch this team run.
Nope.
I don't even want to watch this team run.
Throw it all to Michael Pittman.
Exactly, every time.
Evan Hall and nothing else. I'm looking over on the other side of the field from Sunday because Christian Kirk was so good. He was so dependable last year. And what we saw from the Jags fantasy-wise is that receiver is probably going to be Calvin Ridley week in and week out. There's going to be some weeks where Zay Jones goes off and some where Kirk's goes off. It's not a drop-him type situation. I think maybe if you want to go in your league and get somebody who's frustrated with Christian Kirk and make a trade for him, you should absolutely do that.
He dropped this week.
But with the defense that the Jags have, there's going to be a lot of games where the Jags are going to have to throw and score a lot, but his stock does take a little bit of a hit after this game in week one. Another stock down. He's going for defense. That's the Steelers' defense. They got Shanahan on Sunday. Patrick Peterson never wants to see Brandon Aiyuk ever again. They scored 4 points at home. It was because of those 3 sacks. They did get a takeaway, but they allowed 30-plus points. Honestly, it could have been worse. But we will add the ultimate caveat to these things. It's week one.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's week one, but just for as of right now, where we stand, sad music. Those are the stocks. Stock downs and stock ups and stock up, stock down right here on NFL